Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Essential Europe webinar. This is for our 2026 trip to Europe. The Essential Europe is one of the tours we offer as a graduation tour. It's the longer of the trips that we offer, and it's a great way to get a broad overview of Europe. You'll get to see an awful lot in your time there. It's a great way to see a lot of cities and countries in a short enough time frame. And then, you can go back to Europe and maybe visit some of those places more in depth in the years to come. So I will go through a PowerPoint presentation of the itinerary, and then we'll have some time for Q&A after that. This will hopefully be about 20 minutes or so, and then we have as much time as you need for Q&A afterwards. You can, as we're going through the presentation here, just write any questions that you think of in the chat box, and then I'll answer those once we get to the end. All right, so let's get started on this trip. So the Essential Europe is going to cover 18 or 8 countries in 18 days, and then add on, you have the option to add on an additional 5-day extension to southern Italy and Greece. So that would make it a total of 23 days and 9 countries. So the countries you'll be visiting are England, France, Belgium, Holland, Germany, Italy, Vatican City, which is considered its own country, and then Greece if you choose to do that option. If you're at all on the fence about Greece, we highly recommend that you do it. Nobody has ever been sad that they spent 5 days in Greece. So we highly recommend that you do it. We always get phone calls from people who are in, just starting off the trip, and maybe you're in Paris and they're like, oh God, I wish I was going to Greece. So and then we can't add it at that late date. So if you're at all on the fence, I highly recommend just booking it, and I promise you will have a great time. So your trip is going to start in London. The flights are going to be overnight from the US. So if you are booking your own flight, just make sure that you do book an overnight flight. If you book flights with us, we'll meet you at the airport in the morning when you arrive. Your tour director will be there, and you'll have a transfer to the hotel in downtown London. If the rooms are ready when you get there, you can check in right away. If they're not quite ready yet, they'll store your luggage for you, and then you can, maybe go grab some breakfast, start exploring London, and then come back a little while later, and the rooms should be ready at that point. You will have the afternoon free, maybe to get started on your sightseeing, and then the whole group will meet in the evening, probably around like 5 or 6 o'clock, and they'll meet with their tour director. All the rest of the group will have an orientation session just to kind of let you know how the tour is going to go, where you're going to be going, what options are available, a couple of rules that we have on the tour, being on time, that sort of stuff. We'll go through all of that, and then you'll go out that evening and go on your pub crawl. The next day, you'll have a guided city tour. It'll be walking and also using the metro. So you can keep that metro ticket for the rest of the day, and maybe go back to some of the places that you saw, or maybe there's somewhere you're interested in seeing yourself. So you can spend the rest of your day exploring the parts of London that you want to see. We do recommend that everybody, have an idea of what they want to see when they're in Europe. For your time management, you will get the most out of this trip and have the most time for exploring if you plan it out a little bit ahead of time. Now, you don't have to totally schedule your day, but just have an idea of the main sites that you want to see. And that will just maximize the time. And we do give a list of free time activities on the website if you're looking for some ideas of what to do. After 2 days in London, we're going to head to Paris. We use the Channel, which is the high-speed train that goes through the tunnel under the English Channel. It's also called the Eurostar. That's its proper name, but most people just call it the Channel. It gets you from downtown to downtown in a little more than 2 hours. So like a really efficient way to get you between London and Paris. Once you arrive, we'll have a sightseeing tour. So you'll get to see the main sites in Paris. Your tour director will give you your travel card. So you'll have a 2-day travel card. So you'll be able to get around Paris on both buses and metro for free when you're there. And then we'll check into the hotel and that evening go for a really nice French bistro dinner and also a trip down the Seine River on a bateau mouche. It's a lovely way to see the city. All the monuments are lit up, so it looks really pretty. And you'll get to enjoy that with maybe some wine on board. And most people like to bring a bottle of wine and a bottle opener and, have a little drink while you're going down the Seine River. The next day will be free. We do have some optional activities that you can sign up for. Your tour director will let you know when you need to register for any of these because you'll do it on site in Europe. We will have a free optional visit to the Fragonard Perfumery and Museum, and then also a paid visit to the French cabaret, like the Moulin Rouge. Some of you may have seen that movie. So it's a fun cabaret show, a lot of dancing and music. And included in that is also some champagne and your transfers to and from the venue. So after we leave Paris, we're going to head north, and our first stop is going to be in Brussels, in Belgium. And you'll have a little bit of free time in the downtown area, maybe get some mussels and frites, or some Belgian chocolate, things that Brussels is famous for. You can also get to see the Mannequin Pis statue, which is a really famous small statue in the center of town. After lunch, we will leave Brussels and head to Amsterdam. Um, the day that you get there, you will have a canal boat ride to get to see the city again from the water, a nice way to see the city. And then also a Dutch-Indonesian rice table dinner. Indonesia was a Dutch colony, so it's a pretty common thing to see Indonesian food in Holland. The next day, you will have a trip out into the Dutch countryside. You'll go biking. It's very flat, so it's a very, very easy cycle. And if you don't bike or you just don't want to cycle, the town that we will start from has lots of coffee shops and things like that, so you can hang out for a couple of hours there if you would like. We'll also visit a cheese shop, so you can taste some of the Dutch Edam cheese, and then also visit a clog workshop, so you'll be able to see where they make the famous wooden shoes in Amsterdam. So after 2 days in Amsterdam, we'll be leaving there and head off to Cologne. It's our first stop in Germany. The cathedral in downtown Cologne is really famous, the largest cathedral in Europe. So that's a great spot to visit. There's lots of places to eat right out front. So a really nice place for a lunch spot, and then we'll board our Rhine River cruise after that. So you get to go down the Rhine River. There's lots of castles on the coast that you can see. Just lovely scenic views when you're on the Rhine River. Once we disembark from the cruise, we meet back up with our motor coach and head to Heidelberg, which is like a student city in Germany. There's a big university there, so lots of young people. So it's a really fun place to go out that evening. Lots of beer halls, so you can get your first taste of German beer and German cuisine. We'll also visit the Heidelberg Castle when you get there, so you'll have a bird's eye view of the city before you head out that evening. The next day, we're going to take what's called the romantic route in Germany. You go through lots of medieval villages, so it's very picturesque, a lovely way to see Germany. And we will stop at, a traditional guest house for some lunch along the way. So be prepared for some sausage, some bratwurst and cabbage, etc. at a traditional German guest house. Our next stop in Germany is going to be in Munich, and we'll have 2 nights here. Um, on the day that we arrive, we'll all go out for a Bavarian dinner together. So again, get to, taste some traditional German food, maybe some schnitzel or maybe more sausage. And then if you want to go to the Hofbrauhaus afterwards, it's a really fun environment. Listen to some Oompa music and indulge in some beer there. The next day is a free day, or sorry, the next day you will have a morning visit and then the afternoon will be free. And the morning visit will be to the Dachau Memorial site. So we'll do that in the morning and then come back into town and you will have the rest of the time free to explore Munich a little bit more, maybe do some shopping in the market square there. Another place that people really like to go to is the BMW Museum, which is in Munich. So a lot of people like to do that as well during their free time. So after Germany, we're going to head to Austria. Our first stop is going to be in Salzburg, the site of the Sound of Music. So, you can sing your way through Salzburg if you like. It's also the birthplace of Mozart. So you can visit Mozart's birthplace there, which is a museum now. Or you can just enjoy the city. It's a very quaint town, lots of winding little streets. Lots of great food there and lots of chocolates as well. So Salzburg is a lovely town to visit. From there, we're going to head to the Austrian Alps. We will take a trip to a salt mine on the way. So you'll get to go explore the salt mine, which is a really fun trip. You get to go down and down into the mine in little carts. So it's a fun trip to do. You'll have 2 days in the Austrian Alps. You'll have dinner every evening. Some of the hotels have spa services that you can book if you would like. There's, 2 days are free basically for you to explore the area. Hiking is free and it's a beautiful place to go hiking. Or you can join our optional activity in Austria, which is going to be whitewater rafting. So pretty exciting trip. Everything is provided, in terms of wetsuits and helmets and all that sort of stuff. So that's a fun afternoon activity. After our time in Austria, we're going to head south. Our first stop in Italy is going to be in Venice. Um, We'll have a trip to Murano Island, which is one of the islands out in the archipelago, and we'll go to a glass blowing workshop there, so you can see the famous glass that they blow in Venice. Venetian glass is a very popular keepsake too. So if you're thinking of something to bring home, the glass from here is very popular. Then from Murano, we will head back into Venice and you'll have free time there to explore the city, maybe go on a gondola ride. So you'll be able to enjoy the rest of the evening in Venice. After Venice, our next stop is going to be Florence, and we'll have 2 nights in Florence. While you're there, we'll do a walking tour with a local historian. So they'll really go explain the history and the architecture of Florence. It's like an outdoor museum. So it's a fantastic place to have a walking tour. We would recommend if you want to visit any of the famous museums in Florence, like the Accademia, that you do reserve your tickets in advance because it's quite popular. And again, it's a good use of your time if you purchase a ticket ahead of time that has a timed entrance so that you can skip the queues and make the most of your time in Florence. The next day is either a free day or you can join an optional activity and get out into the countryside in Tuscany. We have a Chianti excursion, which includes wine tasting. So that is a lovely way to spend your day. From Florence, we're going to head to Rome and to Vatican City. Again, you're 2 nights there. One day will be free for you to explore on your own, and the other day we'll start with a half-day city tour. So you will get to visit Rome and Vatican City on your tour. You'll also receive a 48-hour Roma pass, which includes admission to the Roman Forum and also the Colosseum. The Colosseum does have like a reservation fee that unfortunately we cannot pay in advance for you. But it's only about $1. But beyond that, your entrance is covered to the Colosseum. We'll also have a pizza party one of the nights there and an illumination drive through the city. So you'll get to see, the Spanish Steps all lit up. So it's a really pretty way to see the city. And unfortunately for some of you, this is going to be the end of the road. You'll be flying back home after your stay in Rome. For those of you who do decide to go on to Greece, we will have our departure the next morning. Our first stop is going to be in Pompeii. We get to see the excavations there. The city was covered in ash after a volcanic eruption, and it basically preserved the city. So there's ongoing excavations there, but a lot of the city has been fully excavated. So you can see the old buildings and roads and, unfortunately, some people that were all preserved by the ash. After that, we're going to continue east to the port of Bari and board our overnight cruise ferry. This is the only time where it'll be four people in a cabin. For all the hotels that we use, it's two people per room with private bathroom facilities. We don't use hotels that are common in Europe that have, a bathroom per floor. All of our hotels have private bathrooms. So you depart Italy this evening on our cruise ferry, arrive in Greece the next day. You'll have your breakfast on board. It's a really fun way to get to Greece. Lots of, young Europeans get to Greece this way, so you'll have fun on board meeting new people. There's restaurants on board, and a few bars, so you definitely will have plenty to do. Once we get to Greece, our first stop is going to be the island of Poros. It's a fantastic island. There's lots of small beaches, little coves that you can visit. You can also visit some Poseidon ruins, I believe, that are on the top of the hill in the center of the island that you can go visit. We will include bike rentals on one of the days that you're there, so you can explore the whole island if you'd like. There's a wonderful town, Porous Town, that has lots of nice restaurants and shopping that you can do, or you can just spend your day relaxing on the beach. This is kind of what we consider the vacation after the vacation. So it's a really just fun, relaxing time. Do what you want on the island of Poros. We will have an optional activity here, which is like a water sports outing. So you get to go out on a boat, do banana boat riding, parasailing, all that sort of stuff if you wish to join that. And then after our 3 nights in Poros, we're going to head to Athens. We'll be met off the ferry by our local guide and board our motor coach and go on a sightseeing tour in Athens, visit the Acropolis, the original Olympic site, all the highlights of Athens. And then after some free time in the afternoon, we'll have our farewell Greek taverna dinner, which is really fun time. There's music and dancing, and it's, your last night with your group. So it's a really fun way to end the trip. And so the next day, then, if you purchased air with us, we will include the transfers back to the airport. If you book your own flights, you may be able to join the transfer, or in Athens, they do have a metro that goes to the airport as well. So it's pretty easy to get back, and we can give you advice on that if you need it. So what's included in the tour package is 16, this is the base package through to Rome. So it's 16 nights in like 3-star or better hotels, again, 2 share rooms except for that overnight cruise ferry. Breakfast is included every day, and we have 7 evening meals and a lunch included on this portion. So pretty much you have a meal included every second day. The transportation will be the Eurostar from London to Paris, and then it will be motor coach for the rest of the way. You'll have guided tours while you're in London, Paris, Florence, and Rome, and those will be led by a local historian, but you'll also have your own tour director with you for the entire tour, and that person is there to make sure everything goes smoothly and that you have a fantastic trip. So definitely, if you're needing advice on anything, feel free to ask them. They would love to help out, and they're full of good ideas and advice. The river cruises that we'll have are the Seine River cruise and the Rhine River cruise, and then also we'll do a cruise in Amsterdam on the canal. And then we'll include travel cards while you're in Paris, Amsterdam, and in Rome, along with that day pass that you'll have in London. The Roma pass that you get, as I mentioned, will also include those admissions, and it also gives you discounts at other museums. So if there's other places you are interested in visiting in Rome, you can use your Roma pass to get a discount. And then the admissions would be the Heidelberg Castle, the Roman Forum, and your visit to the salt mines. And in the extension, it'll be 5 nights, again, in 3-star or better hotels, except for that overnight cruise ferry. Your breakfast is included every day. You have 3 evening meals included. Your bike ride or your bike rental for the day on the island of Poros. We have a really fun toga party one of the nights that you're there. And then once you get to Athens, you'll have your local guided tours there. So the cost of the tour for the 18-day land package is 5,578, and the addition to go on to Greece is 1,285. You can make your reservation and pay your deposit online. It's $500, and there's no processing fee with that. If you do want to pay your balance by credit card, we would have 4% processing on that amount. Your balance will be due at 90 days prior to departure. The easiest thing to do is mail us a check, use your bank's bill pay feature, or wire the money. Although wiring sometimes has a fee as well. So the check and bill pay are generally the cheapest way to do it. And you're also free to send in money on your own schedule. You can send us a check, every couple of weeks or once a month, as long as your trip is paid off by that 90-day deadline. And we will send you an updated invoice each time we receive a payment so you can keep track of where you are. On this tour, the optional activities that will be offered are the Moulin Rouge, the rafting, the excursion in Chianti, and then your water sports outing. We also will have that free visit to the perfumery if you want to join that. And you will sign up for any of these when you're in London with your tour director, and we will include a detailed description and the cost with your final documents. For airfare, we generally can do airfare from most US cities. We work with Star Alliance carriers, so United, Air Canada, and Lufthansa. So most US cities we can do airfare from. We include the transfers if you book airfare with us, and we also include a checked bag and a carry-on with the ticket. It's great to do the flights with us because we do include those benefits, but also if anything happens, on the day of travel, we have access to your reservation, so we'll know if there's a delay to let the tour director know, or if for any reason the date of the tour needed to be changed, we can do that for you, generally free of charge. Also, if you want to go to Europe a bit early or stay longer, we can also accommodate that. In London, you'll be using British pounds, and then everywhere else on the tour, you'll be using euros. So my advice would be to take a small amount of British pounds or withdraw a small amount of British pounds for your 2 days that you're there. And then once you get to mainland Europe, you can withdraw euros, and then you'll just use that on the rest of the trip. Do not withdraw all your cash or bring all of your cash with you. If you were to lose it, your trip is ruined. If you withdraw in cash, just take enough to last you like 3 or 4 days. And that way you never have a huge amount of money on you. So if it does get lost, it's not devastating. But withdrawing money every day, like if you have fees with your ATM card, those can add up. Also, if you're using a credit card, just want to make sure that there's no foreign transaction fees with your credit card, because those again can really add up if you're using your card a lot. And now is a good time to check with your bank to see if they offer a card that has no foreign transaction fees. And you have plenty of time to do that. I'd also let your bank know that you're going to be traveling out of the country so that they don't flag any charges as fraudulent. It's difficult to deal with your bank when there's that much of a time difference. For documents, you're going to need to have a valid passport. It needs to be valid for at least 6 months after your return to the US. So basically, it's valid through the end of 2026. And if you don't have a passport or if you need a renewal, now is probably a good time to do that before it gets really busy in like February and March when everybody's starting to think about their summer plans. If you're a US or Canadian citizen, you don't need any visas. However, you do need to get what's called an ESTA for entry into the UK. It's a very easy process. You do it online. It takes like 24 hours, and it costs somewhere about $20 or so, maybe 25. And we'll include those details with your final document package, which will also include like your daily itinerary, your hotel list, all that sort of good stuff. Um, for your luggage, we do limit the amount of luggage people can bring on the tour to one carry-on and one checked bag, and that would be the allowance that you would also have included if you book airfare with us. We do recommend that you pack as lightly as possible. Everybody always brings too much, so our advice is always pack your bag, unpack it, get rid of half the stuff, and then pack it again. Because, as you see from the pictures on here, everybody is in like t-shirts and jeans or shorts and a t-shirt. So everybody always brings too much with them. Electronics, we would leave as much as possible at home. Anything that's expensive that you would be very upset if you lose, I would leave at home. In general, of a tour this length, somebody is probably going to forget something somewhere, and you don't want it to be you and your expensive laptop that you just got for graduation gift. So, if you do need to take, a laptop with you, maybe you have an older one that you can bring that wouldn't be as devastating to lose. The voltage is different in Europe. So if you are bringing any electronics like outside of your phone or a Kindle, you will need a converter. They're normally like somewhere around $60 or so. They're not foolproof, so you still run the risk of frying whatever appliance it is. Everybody will need an adapter because the plug socket shapes are different in the UK and Europe, and those are about $10 or $12, and any luggage section of a department store would have them. All the hotels will have Wi-Fi. It's just a matter of whether it's free or not, really, in the hotel. Most hotels have it free now all over, but some still only have it free in the common spaces, and then you have to pay for it in your room. But they will let you know at check-in, and there's internet available everywhere in Europe, museums, bars, shops. Everybody has Wi-Fi just like here, so you'll have no trouble connecting with people. Just a couple of good ideas. Take a book or some games with you, as you will have, travel time on the bus. So that's always kind of fun to keep you amused or engaged while you're traveling. Take your student ID with you. Lots of places offer discounts for students, so definitely bring that with you. As I mentioned earlier, like planning out your free time activities in advance is a great way to maximize your time. So that way you're not like, standing in line to get a ticket or, standing around just unsure of what you want to do next. So have kind of a bit of an outline on what you want to do, and that will sort of maximize your time when you're there. You can buy tickets from many museums now online, and you'll get a timed entrance, which is really great. So, that you'll be guaranteed entry at that time. So again, no standing around. And then just make copies of all of your documents and keep them separate for the originals, because it's much easier to get a replacement if you have a copy of the original. And the most important message is have a fantastic time in Europe. It's a great time of life for you. You've just graduated college. You have some free time before you start working or going to grad school. So enjoy that time in Europe and have a fantastic start of your summer. Okay, so we can have some Q&A here. And if anybody does have any additional questions, you can still add them to the chat.